right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday. And these tastings at Cafe Maxx, a great way to spend your Wednesday evening happy hour. 6:30 to 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8 wines. And the German Austrian tasting usually is a great one to come to because usually there's only like 10 or 12 people there. This year, we had over 20 people. So every event we've done, it seems, at Cafe has really been successful, even the harder ones to sell, like Germany and Austria. And the Germans and Austrians make outstanding wines. You know, it was just, I don't know, not too long ago, before the First World War, the German wines were the most expensive in the world. And per bottle, the Austrian wines may still be some of the most, if not the most expensive wines in the world. Austrian wines ain't cheap. Just like Swiss wines. You see Swiss wines here in this country? No, because they're very good and they're not cheap. So that makes them a little hard to sell here, but the people in Switzerland drink them up there just like the people in Austria do. Their top wines are very high in demand. This is a culture of people that drink. They drink a fair amount of wine. Well, anyways, we started out our tour of Austrian Germany in Germany with Villa Wolf Pinot Noir Rosé. Rosé from Germany? Not something you see very often, but something that's becoming popular and fashionable. And this is a clean and refreshing style of rosé of Pinot Noir with light strawberry fruit, with pretty floral notes. Really light and refreshing wine on the palate with a nice core of raspberry and strawberry fruit, though. Some tongue-tingly mineralities, light chalky notes on the finish. Very good juice. And very reasonably priced as well. All right, the Rainier West Gruner Veltliner, the only Gruner, and this is kind of like an entry-level grape Gruner. You know, these wines have a classic bouquet of green apple and melon rind and hints of white pepper spice and some floral notes. This wine had that tangy green melon and apple fruit on the tongue as well, a little spritz from the acidity there and a touch of white pepper, a nice entry-level Gruner Veltliner here. All right, next up, the Von Schubert Riesling Maximum Grünhauser Trocken. Whenever you see Trocken on a wine, that means it's dry, and that has been the trend since the ethylene glycol scandal in the 80s in Germany and Austria, is dry wine. You can't get arrested with sweet wine in Germany or Austria, and this wine, a really nice dry style of Riesling, some peach and green apple fruit, along with some wet stone and sour cherry and lime citrus. A nice refreshing style of Riesling on the palate, and if you want to know if the Riesling is dry or sweet, just look in the alcohol. It's 12% alcohol, so you know it's dry. There's no residual sugar in this wine, or very little, if any. A very good example of a entry-level dry Riesling. All right, next up, one of the greatest producers of the Mosel, J.J. Prum, with the Gracker Himmelreiche Cabernet. And this is the one thing I didn't think was fair on my visit. Producers like Prum that don't make dry wine, that just make sweet wine, but all of their wines are considered Grand Cru, the vineyard sites. They cannot use this Grossgewächs term. Anyways, this is just upstream from the famed Willener Sonne, Gracker Himmelreiche, really deep, rich soils here, so you get some nice minerality in this wine, but it's got some lovely peach and apple fruit, notes of orange blossom, hint of that slate-like minerality, very fresh and bright with juicy fruit on the tongue, and this wine does have a little bit of residual in it, but so much acidity, you don't even notice it. Wonderful freshness, very juicy, and a really great example of a Cabernet. Dr. Lucens Ursiger Würzgarten was up next, and this is I don't want to say a top-level wine, but this was the best wine we had. And, you know, you don't think of white wine with short rib, but this wine was really nice with a short rib, which the Spätzle, which is red meat. And anyways, this has got some lovely lemon and lime, citrus fruit here, white peach, some wet stone minerality, and a good bit of residual in this wine, a good bit of sugar, only 7.5% alcohol, but you get this bracing acidity that you don't even notice it. Nice juicy fruit on the tongue with that fresh orange blossom and lime citrus fruit on the finish. An excellent example of a Spätlese, an old school Spätlese here from Germany. All right, they do make some reds in Germany and Austria, and the Becker Pinot Noir being the best of the reds from Germany, and this wine, a really light and zesty style of Pinot, and you notice that in the color of it. It's got some nice raspberry and strawberry fruit, a nice touch of spice and dried floral notes. A really silky smooth wine on the palate with a nice hint of that spice showing through the finish, along with some dried floral notes, and a very good little light Pinot. And the Schneider Dornfelder is up next, and this is a relatively recent arrival on the grape scene. It's a cross made by August Harold of Heffensteiner, Hero Reben, and a couple other grapes. I think there's 4 parents to this grape, Tal was saying, and he did a great job presenting these wines. I'm not near the expert on them, but a really unique wine. This wine, this Dornfelder, has got this kind of animal, almost like a horse stable kind of quality to the nose, some wild herbs and flowers flowers. Some dark berry fruit here as well, but very wild, kind of very unique. I don't know of anything else that smells like this. Really smooth and velvety on the tongue. Some fine tannins there with that floral and that horse stable quality coming through on the finish, and a little bit polarizing. Some people didn't like any of the reds. Some people loved this one. It was their favorite. And then some people like the Zweigelt, which to me, this wine smells like tequila. And hey, I like tequila, so I thought, man, this is a really interesting wine here. It's got some lovely peppery spice to the nose, and it's got some raspberry fruit, and really unique wine. But like I said, somewhat polarizing. Some people loved it, some people didn't like it at all. And you want a really unique red wine, try some of these reds, the Dornfelder and the Zweigelt from Austria. All right, that's what we had to drink at our Austrian German tasting. I'm your host, Andrew Lamposoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.